Welcome to Let's Talk Football with me, Chris.
And me, Richard.
The podcast bringing you the latest in football news. Every week we discuss all the big talking points from the world of football and discuss all the action in the week to come.
In this week's podcast, United end Arsenal's 100% start to the season with a 3-1 win at Old Trafford. Ivan Toney scores a hat-trick for Brentford as they beat Leeds. VAR controversies bring big criticism at the multiple games over the weekend. And now the transfer window is shut. Look at the hits and the misses.
Oh, with that to talk about and some sentences that don't work. Let's talk football. Hello, everyone.
Too many B's together there.
What? There was only two. Bring big criticism. That's the only words you had to say. Oh dear. Right. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
It's podcast time. Right, let's go to Old Trafford. I'm not messing around.
All right, we really aren't messing around, are we?
Yeah, we really aren't messing around tonight. Let's talk the greatest football team known to man.
Oh, please.
I mean, we have to take these moments while we still can. I'm afraid because we don't know how long it's going to last.
Jesus.
Four games in a row.
Yeah.
I'm not used to this at the moment. I've not seen this for a long time now. Very giddy.
Very giddy.
Up to 5th place now, you know.
Nosebleed section.
Yeah.
The league table.
Who knew Man United were that big, eh?
You're massive.
Everybody
You're
does.
massive.
We are massive. Of course we're massive.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, it was quite the game. It was a nerve-wracking one.
Very feisty game as well. Yeah.
It was it felt like a proper United Arsenal game, that one.
It
Had a bit about it, had a bit of fight. Well, that's what we're seeing. I think between Malacia and Martinez in particular, they seem to have brought that edge back into the team.
Yes, there was lots of fist pumping and lots of chest bumping when things went
Yeah,
well.
but even like the bite in the tackle and the aggressiveness of the play, when it seems to just come from that area of the pitch for us. Those two in particular, that just seem to be getting on it. I think Scott McTominay's playing some of the best football I've ever seen him play.
Yeah, it's a wonder what Casemiro can do to somebody, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's like
he's come in. Scott McTominay's like, well, I best butt my ideas up then, isn't I?
I best actually show everyone that I'm actually a footballer, because it was unheard of last year.
But I think it goes back to what you've said in the past. Obviously, you had Scott McTominay and you have Fred next to one another. Two very similar players. Now you've got Scott McTominay and Christian Eriksen next to one another.
Well, that's it. And I got laughed at when I said that Christian Eriksen was going to play central midfield for Manchester United.
He's playing a blinder at the moment.
Everyone kept telling me, "Oh no, he's just there for backup for Bruno," and I was like, "No, he can play. He can play in central midfield. A player of his quality
he can
do that.
He can play as an 8 as well as a 10.
Yeah, he's been very good and just get him on the ball. That's what we've been missing.
He can ping a pass, Christian. We know that.
Yeah. That ball through a defence or through a midfield to break that line. Yeah. And he seems to be building this understanding now with Bruno.
Yep.
Where it's just like Eriksen knows. I just it doesn't matter how I ping it in, as long as I get it to him.
And then
he'll take it on the half turn and he'll do something with it. And Rashford's goal was the first Rashford goal was the epitome of that.
Because they linked up together and played him through.
Yeah, and the Anthony goal, of course, as well.
Yeah,
that was
what a
very
finish
similar.
from Anthony.
Yeah, it was just calm.
What a way to mark your debut.
Yeah, just come in, do it best. Anthony's have a knack of doing that on debuts.
They do, yeah.
Martial did it against Liverpool. I've seen someone actually just edit Martin Tyler's commentary of the Anthony Martial goal and just took off the Martial bit of it and just played that.
Welcome to the Premier League, Anthony Martial. I remember that.
Yeah. So it was nice to see. I mean, obviously, I thought Arsenal were brilliant. Actually,
they were
in phases.
Yeah.
And then they just then Arteta just lost his head.
Yeah, just gave you the scored. Game. Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking because we go 2-1 up.
Yeah.
They were still bossing the game.
Yeah, he throws everybody on and everybody's out of position. And then
they don't really understand the shape that they're in. They're off, and then all of a sudden, you've got Saliba trying to play offside, not realising Ben White or whoever was come on for Ben White was behind him. And then Ericsson just goes, "Oh, look at this! I look like I'm a 70-mile-an-hour speed merchant running through an Arsenal defence."
Let's be fair. That's not the first time that Christian Eriksen has run past a few Arsenal players.
No, I'll bet you've seen it a few times.
I've seen it a couple of times. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but even that third one, then it goes through, and Rashi's. I'm so pleased for Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, that he's found.
He's finding himself again. He's finding himself. I don't think he is there yet. I think that's something to be scared, to be worried about if you're other team. I don't think he's quite back to his best yet.
He's got his confidence now.
His confidence is starting to build. And to be honest, this season, his 3 goals, I mean, I thought on every occasion, there's 2 particularly where he ran through. The one against Liverpool when he was 1-on-1 with Alisson, and the one against, and then the one where he goes, when Bruno Fernandes plays the ball with the outside of his boot. I didn't think he was going to miss.
No. Whereas for the last 18 months, as soon as he's got in front of goal, you're like, oh, he's not going to score, is he?
Yeah, but I think that's it. I think I've heard a report as well that he's turned around to Ten Hag and says, "Play me through the middle."
Yeah, he wants to be the number 9. Yeah.
Play me through the middle, because I don't think Wide he can do something out there, but I just think he was lost a bit out there, where he's just like, well, I can't.
I suppose when you've got Cristiano Ronaldo playing as your number 9, you kind of don't want to get in his way. You kind of want to stay in your lane, sort of thing.
I think it was more of he's not, he played his whole life growing up as a centre forward, right? That's what he did, and he's learnt that craft from right when he was probably 14, 15, or whenever, he might be even younger than that. So right to when he joined into the first team, he was playing centre forward. Then it wasn't really until
Van Gaal.
No, it was after Van Gaal. No, it was probably Solskjaer, probably the end of Mourinho, really, when he started to play out wide. Because he played up front a few times under Mourinho, to be honest. I remember he scored a goal against Hull or whatever. In the last minute. So, he played centre forward a lot then, even for Mourinho. But I don't think it wasn't really until Ollie came in, I think, that he properly went out wide a bit more. Because it was mainly Martial used to come through there, and Martial's like, "We're playing me. I want to be a number 9. They all want to be.
They all want to be a number 9.
They all want to be a centre.
Everybody
they don't want to do the work.
To be a number 9.
Well, no, they don't want to do the work. No. Up and out. They don't want to do the running. That's what it is. They don't want to do the running. So, yeah, I think I'm happy he's finding himself again.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's just hope it's a sign. Well, from a United perspective, anyway. Let's hope it's a sign of things to come from him. I thought we were dogged. We had to be. We had to dig in.
You had to dig in because they played well for the first 20 minutes. Arsenal. They were all over you first 20 minutes. Obviously, they get the goal disallowed quite rightly.
Well, no, the first 10-15 minutes, I thought we were on top. It wasn't until they had the disallowed goal that Arsenal then took over.
Yeah.
From how I saw it, and then we hit them with the sucker punch, get the goal. And then Arsenal at that point didn't panic. They just carried on. They kept getting on us.
Yeah.
And they get the equaliser. And I think at that point, either the players on the, I think they thought, oh, we're going to win now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the goal back, we're going to win. And then when we hit them again with the sucker punch, Arteta's panicked, throwing the kitchen sink on the pitch with 20 minutes to go, which is way too early. Yeah. Especially away from home.
It's a bit of a naivety from Mikel Arteta. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't necessary, and I think, the players then thought that, we have to, we've got to go forward, and but not with the players they brought on. They didn't exactly bring on any. We brought Casemiro and Fred on, and I think when Fred came on, he changed the game a bit because he was getting in amongst them and stopping them a lot more than what Eriksen was doing in particular. Yeah. I mean, Scott was playing more of an interceptor role rather than a pressing role, I'd say.
Yeah.
At times as well. But when Fred came on, I thought, oh my God, this is what we need from Fred. And he was being the link rather than being the holder. He was being on the front foot, pressing and then going on.
Yeah, I did notice he was in the box a couple of times. I went.
Yeah. Well, I think he had to be because he came on for Sancho, didn't he? And then when we're countering, we needed the options. And I've seen some people say, oh, maybe it was him bringing Ronaldo on that thought Arsenal were gonna. That made Arsenal think, oh, okay, we ain't got to worry so much about him behind now because Ronaldo's on. But I don't buy that because Rashford was still on the pitch and you know, you've still got to worry about him no matter how many people he brings
Even
off across
Harry
the front line.
Maguire got on.
Harry Maguire got a game, gave away a foul before he touched the ball. But to be fair, I don't necessarily blame him for that. I thought he got sold a bit short, but yeah, and came on. But I just think overall we're looking better, but we're not there.
No.
We're not even close. I don't think to being where we need to be.
Better than what you were.
You know, Arsenal looked more of a unit, going, you know, attacking wise, possession wise than we did. But I thought our character and our togetherness is starting to shine through a bit more.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, you know, when you think about after the Brentford game, where's that come from?
Yeah. Obviously, some home truths were told. And things have picked up.
Indeed. So, yeah, positive move forward for us. Can we keep it up? We've got, obviously, Europa League this week, and that all starts. So it'd be interesting to see now how the squad starts to rotate.
Now it's going to be the tough one for the top 7. You know, now we're going to be playing 2 games a week for the next 6 weeks.
Well, right up until the World Cup, isn't it, really?
Pretty much. I think, obviously,
there's only 1 week break, isn't there?
We're playing up until the international break. Obviously, we get 10 days off there, and then we're back in.
Yeah, but I mean, all the players, most of the players are going to be playing in that period, aren't they, for their national teams?
Last chance to get on the plane to the World Cup. Yeah.
Indeed. So we'll see how that goes. I think Arsenal will be. Arsenal fans as salty as you expect. I've seen a few things, but I think overall they're happy with their team. They just want to blame everyone else apart from them for their faults.
Yeah, nothing to do with VAR for them though.
No, absolutely not. I mean, we're going to talk about VAR a bit more in a bit when we go through all the various things that happened. We might as well just go through that all in one go, to be honest. But no, it was a foul.
It was definitely.
It was a foul. You've tackled him from behind. You've gone with your inside leg when you should be going around it. What are you doing, Odegaard? It's clumsy and it's a foul. And
you have to wonder why it wasn't blown up at the time.
Yeah, that's the thing that I find strange. Why have you let that go? Yeah. But it came, luckily the goal came fairly quick after it. Otherwise, it wouldn't have gone back to it, would it?
Back to it, no.
So we take those.
Indeed.
Right, so that's Old Trafford. I want to talk about Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
What a good hat-trick.
Good hat-trick. I mean, one of those was superb. The little chip. I mean, the goalkeeper was miles out of his goal. But yeah. The composure.
Ivan Toney showed up.
Yeah.
Because he's I think last season he showed signs of what he's about, but I think he was still probably trying to settle into the league. Yeah. But I think, you know, this season he's really starting to muscle himself about. I mean, United, he was great against United. Yeah. And he's shown, you know, in other games he's strong and he's starting to find his feet in the Premier League. And it might be a bit of a moment for him now to kick on to another level. I mean, you know, the World Cup's coming.
I was going to say, we're talking about making a late dash. Ivan Toney may well make that late dash.
Well, he could do, because you think about the centre-forward options that we've got. I mean, Calvert-Lewin can't stay fit.
No. Tammy Abraham,
you know,
and him.
Tammy Abraham. You know, Rashford will want to be through the middle, but he's not. Will Rashford be able to do enough between now and then to be able to get himself back in England set up properly?
Yeah.
And I think there's a real opening for Ivan Toney if Southgate thinks that he fits.
Obviously, touch wood, there aren't any injuries to any of the key players. But obviously, if you're in form, you should be in his thoughts at least.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a good opportunity, I think, in that centre forward position.
As for Leeds, they just pressed the self-destruct button.
Yeah, it was a bit weird from Leeds. They've been a bit like it though. They seem to be like Leeds of Bielsa a bit. They were so open.
Yeah. In fairness, they've got a very symmetrical standing at the moment. So they've won 2, lost 2, drawn 2, 10 goals for, 10 goals against.
10 goals against. Yeah. So lovely bit of work from Leeds there. Maybe that's why they conceded Maybe that's why they conceded it like the way they did. They wanted it.
I mean,
we'll give Leeds the benefit of the doubt that that's what they wanted to do.
Just picked his pocket, but yeah.
Yeah. But no, they don't seem quite right. And I was a bit surprised at Leeds, actually. I mean, we're going to talk about the transfer window again in a bit, but I was a bit surprised Leeds let Dan James go.
Yes, me too.
But especially to Fulham. Yeah. That seemed a strange one.
More game time, but I thought he was playing for Leeds.
Well, yeah, he played half the game. He started two games, hadn't he? I think for Leeds.
It was a very bizarre situation.
And played well. Yeah. Obviously, he didn't even. Did he get in the Fulham team?
For Fulham.
He made the bench for Fulham, but that might just obviously he's only just joined.
He'd only joined on the Thursday.
Yeah. So
odd.
Yeah, I quite like Dan James as well. Yeah, it was an odd decision. Yeah. I like Dan James. He was a hard worker and he can cross a ball.
He can. I can now say though, his end product is dreadful at times.
It can be at times, 100%, and that was his problem at United. He showed the signs that that he could do it, but the consistency just wasn't always there for him. No. But he'll run up and down. He'll run up and down for you all day long.
He'll run all day long for you. But
yeah, and again, that's what I was a little. Yeah. That's why I was a little bit surprised at the time when United let him go at the time, because
didn't have many players.
We didn't have anyone doing that for us. But I think it was when we brought Sancho in. Yeah. I think he saw that my playing time might be limited, but again, he'd started a lot of games for United early season as well.
That's the third transfer window in a row in August that Dan James has moved on deadline day.
Yep, good work, Dan James. Likes to move.
He likes to move on deadline day.
His agent loves him. His agent absolutely loves him. Like, Dan, where you going next year? I need to pay my mortgage on my holiday home. Yeah. So no, that was good. I just wanted to mention Ivan Toney. This week's going to be a bit of an odd one because obviously we've got a few big things to talk about. But so other mentions from the other games, I think, because we're going to get onto VAR separately. I think I want to mention McAllister for Brighton was amazing. I thought he played very, very well.
Very, very well. Did you know he's Argentinian?
No,
I didn't. I did. I thought the commentator made a mistake when he said he was Argentinian. I looked it up and was like, no, he is Argentinian with a name like McAllister.
The thing is though, it is odd because of the way that it's spelt, right? Because it's Mac, M-A-C, and then there's a space before Alistair. Yeah. So I kind of get that, okay, that's not Scottish. Or, but it is an odd thing to see. Yeah. You do automatically think Scotland, don't you?
You do, absolutely, yeah.
But it played very, very well.
Very well for Brighton. Yeah, very well.
He deserved his hat-trick, but we'll get onto that in a bit. Do you want to talk about your lot?
Let's talk about our lot, my lot, your lot, my lot, everybody's lot. 2-0 up.
No, definitely not everybody's lot.
Definitely not everybody's lot. 2-0 up. Quite comfortable. Yeah. Mitrovic scored an absolute blinder. We could have had 5 or 6 before we get there, to be honest. Fulham were okay. They tried to play football against us, which is always dangerous.
I felt they held their own.
Oh, they did.
I mean, in terms of having hold of the ball, I mean, obviously Tottenham created way more.
Yeah, we did.
But I thought on the ball, I thought Fulham held their own quite, for spells in the game.
Richarlison was so unlucky with a shot in the second half. On the volley, hits the foot of the post. I couldn't believe it.
That right in front of you?
Right in front of me. I thought that's goal of the season right there because the technique on it was, for us,
has to go in the net for it to be goal of the season.
It was so close. But good value for win for us. And onwards and upwards.
Onwards and upwards, hopefully. Man City. Man City for you. But Villa gave you hope.
Yeah, definitely.
Villa got a point. City, although... and last season, you did all right against them.
We touch wood. We normally do quite well against Man City.
But they didn't have Haaland last season.
They didn't have Haaland, no. And he scored yet again.
They didn't have a Haaland. They didn't have a Haaland last year. This year they have a Haaland, and everybody can get some.
Yeah, everybody's on notice. I mean, he scored 2 hat-tricks in a week, folks.
He scored a hat-trick in about 70 minutes of football. Yeah. When you break it down, it's over the 2 games. Yeah. In the space of about 70 minutes, he scored 6 goals.
Yeah, ridiculous.
That's scary.
Yeah. Just the one at the weekend, though.
Just the one at the Villa. Just the one.
But again, the movement for his goal Fantastic.
Oh, he's so
Fantastic
good.
movement.
He's so good. And then when you've got people like De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and Grealish, it's just easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now they can just hit an area, can't they? They haven't got it. They haven't got to be precise as they probably would have had to have been with Jesus to get it into his feet, so he can, play off him.
Yeah, no, because
Haaland
can
can
jump.
just throw it in.
Yeah.
They can put it in the box and he can go.
Yeah.
And he's going to attack it one way or another. He's insane. He's too good. I dread to think what it's going to be like. I mean, we've got the derby at the start of October. I don't want to know.
No, let's not think about that.
Where's Roy Keane? That's what we need on the pitch. Hopefully before the game.
Yeah.
Roy Keane will get memories. But anyway, Leon Bailey. I thought they were good, Villa.
Yeah.
They worked so hard
off the ball.
to defend, and it's not like City had loads of chances. I think they had about 4 shots on target overall.
Yeah. Which is quite poor.
It wasn't.
Them.
It is exactly, and I think that tells you how well that Villa were defending as a block, because they've had a tough time.
Yeah, they needed a result like that.
Yeah, they needed something to get them going, and hope Gerrard's getting under more and more pressure at the moment.
Yeah, because that would have been 4 defeats on the bounce if they'd have lost that. Admittedly, they would have maybe expected to lose that one.
Exactly. So to come away with it at Villa Park with the fans behind you, they'll all be happy, and to get the goal that brings them back into it rather than conceding a late one. Helps with the atmosphere, doesn't it, after the game?
It keeps everybody up, and hopefully, as you say, they can kick on from there.
Indeed. Right, I mean, I think that's it really from the games that I really want to talk about. I'll just run through the results quickly so you can hear them. Merseyside derby 0-0.
Yeah.
Chelsea beat West Ham 2-1. Palace Newcastle 0-0. Fulham with a good performance actually against Forest, first game after Scott Parker.
Bournemouth.
Probably should have mentioned them.
Bournemouth, you said Fulham.
As I say, Fulham. Sorry, my bad. I meant Bournemouth after losing Scott Parker. Come back, get the win.
Yeah, great result for them.
But Forest have got to get these players to gel quick.
Yeah.
20 odd players they brought in the transfer window.
22, I think, at last count.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. Wolves beat Southampton. We got bad Southampton this week.
Yeah.
And then Brighton Leicester, we talked about McAllister's performance in there. So let's get on then to some rather controversial VAR decisions that happened this weekend.
Yeah, there was a lot of goodness me.
There was a lot. Obviously, we're not including the one at Old Trafford because it wasn't controversial. No. It's just a foul. Yeah. It's just a foul, guys. Let's start with... let's go back to the beginning of the weekend then, the Merseyside derby.
Okay. Yeah.
Van Dijk's foot challenge, high foot. Yes or no? Did he leave one in?
I mean, he left one on him. Yeah. 100%.
Did you think it was dangerous enough to warrant a red card?
It was quite high on his ankle. It was, it was between sort of ankle and knee, wasn't it?
It did seem a little bit, but I was a bit more. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of felt, when he's in there, the ball was sort of there. It got knocked away, so it looks worse than it is because the ball got knocked away from him, and I think he's just coming in. Mm-hmm. It's a tricky one for me.
It's an orange card, that one. I think
an orange card.
Yeah. But not a yellow card, not a red one.
An orange card.
Orange card. Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but okay, fine.
It's not bad enough. It's bad enough to be a yellow card, not bad enough to be a red card. It's in the middle. One of them ones.
So it's a yellow card then.
It's a yellow card, but it's one of them ones that I've seen red cards given for it.
Yeah, I agree. It was a little bit on the high side. Yeah.
Well, given they were complaining last year, obviously Jordan Pickford and the challenge on, I forget it's Virgil van Dijk, wasn't it?
Yes.
The challenge that they had in this particular fixture last year.
Mm.
It's 6 of one, half a dozen the other, isn't it?
Indeed.
You won't hear Jurgen Klopp screaming for it to be a red card this time.
Absolutely not. But yeah, you can see why. I can totally see why they didn't go back to that one.
Yeah.
Next on my list, then there wasn't anything in Brentford, Leeds, Chelsea, West Ham. Then
Oh my word!
Should West Ham have had their equaliser disallowed?
No.
Okay.
100% no. You can see that he makes the mistake, Mendy. You can see that Jared Bowen tries to come over the top of him. Does he catch him with his foot? Maybe.
I don't think he does, actually.
I
think he's just jumped over him. Yeah.
But
I think
Mendy grabbing his shoulder is completely pathetic.
Yeah, but that was the problem, wasn't it? It wasn't necessarily that the ref thought it was a foul.
Yeah.
Or that the VAR thought it was a foul. It's that the ball was in the box and the goalkeeper was quote unquote injured.
Yeah.
And so they have to stop the game.
Yeah.
If that is the case. So the fact that the ref didn't stop the game and the ball went in the back of the net, that's what VAR called it back for, I believe, was the decision.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily that there was a foul on Mendy. It was the goalkeeper was injured in the box while the ball was there.
If he was injured by that, he needs to man up.
Yeah, I think he was.
He knew he dropped a clanger and covered it up, basically.
Exactly, and he got away with it.
West Ham should feel very hard done by.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question of that. That's a goal.
You know, obviously we're talking about VAR and the sort of the ups and downs of it. That could be a very big point come the end of the season. That could be the difference between West Ham being in Europe and not.
Especially given the start that they've had. They haven't had the best of starts. I think Europe for them at the minute.
But I'm just using that as an example.
Getting their form. Concentrate on getting their form first.
It could be the difference between them being in A or B.
Yeah. It's a strange. It was It
was a dark decision.
They definitely got away with it.
Yeah, Anish.
I
don't understand this whole. Let's go and have a look at the monitor, and we'll overturn it as soon as we go over to the monitor. Michael Oliver did this weekend.
No, he didn't.
He was probably, I think, the first one I've ever seen that went to the monitor and went, "No, I'm sticking with my decision."
Yeah,
it shouldn't just be a categoric thing of you change your mind because you've gone to the monitor.
I think the issue is though. Is that, when you've got someone in your ear going, ooh, you might want to have another look at that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That puts the doubt then in the ref's mind, doesn't it?
But you should have
in the ref's mind.
You should have the courage of your convictions to go.
Yeah, but it's the trust
decision.
in your. Yeah, but it's the trust in your colleague, though, isn't it? Right. Yeah. Having that trust in your colleague. Go, well, he's a professional as well. Yeah. They're not in the ground, in the atmosphere, and I've heard that conversation happen actually around VAR. Was that one of the people think it's an issue that VAR is cold and away from the game and can't see the emotion of the game, and I actually think that's the
important thing
about it, that they are away from that.
Yeah, that's why it's all at Stockley Park and it's not in the ground.
Not understanding the flow of the game, not understanding this. Well, that doesn't help govern the laws of the game, does it? That doesn't help. Enforce the laws of the game, does it? Emotion.
The trouble with VAR, and I've said this right from the start, the trouble is one person's opinion against another person's opinion. So a referee on a given day will go, that's a foul. But on another weekend, and another referee will go, that's not a foul.
Yeah, and people are talking about how things aren't clear and obvious. That's not clear and obvious.
Yeah.
Well, to the guy who's looking at the VAR, looking at Bletchley Park, looking at it, might turn around and go, well, that's clear and obvious. That's a foul. To them.
Yeah.
Because they're just, to them, you've missed that. That's to me, that's blatantly a foul.
And this is where the Premier League have fallen down, in my opinion, because we've gone by our own set of VAR rules. We're not following UEFA and FIFA's guidelines.
Yeah, I think that's always been the problem. I think, when it was first brought in the World Cup 2018, everyone was like, okay. Yeah. And then everyone was like, okay, we get this.
But we'd like to be different in England.
Yeah, we think we're special. We're not.
We're not. We have to follow the same rules as everybody else does. Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, though, FIFA put a lot of work. FIFA mainly, wasn't it? Put a lot of work and effort.
It's IFAB, I think.
IFAB, put a lot of work and effort into getting it right. So they did a lot of studies. They did a lot of things, and the Premier League didn't do anything other than watch the World Cup and go, "This is what we're going to do instead."
Implement it, and we're going to use this set of rules. Yeah.
Yeah, but actually, the work and the groundwork as to how it works best had been done. It'd been looked at. It'd been studied.
So why tinker with it?
So just do that. Absolutely agree with that point.
It's daft that we're still 3 years into this VAR lark, and we're still making mistakes.
Yeah,
and they're not just small mistakes; they're big mistakes.
Yeah, and speaking of which, at Newcastle there was another one.
I mean, you can clearly see he got shoved.
Willock gets a shove in the back,
and he fouls the goalkeeper.
Gets thrown into the goalkeeper. Yeah, gets thrown into the goalkeeper, and it was Willock's foul by Willock apparently, and it should have been a penalty.
Yeah, ridiculous. I mean, how who in their right mind has gone for that and gone, "That's a foul on the goalkeeper"? Obviously, don't get me started on goalkeepers' protection and things like that. Because
I just think the VAR ref or whoever just got a bullet line. Oh, Willock hit the goalkeeper. Yeah. So then paid no attention to what happened to Willock.
In the back. Yeah.
It's like they didn't even look at what Willock had done.
Yeah.
It's like they were just watching, or what happened to Willock, I should say. They were just looking at Willock's movement. You know, oh look, he's gone into the goalkeeper, and that's a foul, rather than looking at the fact that he got shoved in the back while he was in midair
and collided with the goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's just not right. That's a penalty in my book.
Amazing stat for St James's though. 42 attempts on goal, not one of them in the back of the net.
Wow. That's special. Unlucky to that was across both teams, wasn't it?
That was across both teams, yeah.
Yeah. Unbelievable stuff.
But yeah, no. We really desperately need to. They need to either change how they're going to approach it, which I don't think they're going to do mid-season. Because obviously you can't change the integrity of VAR halfway through the season. We've kind of maybe just got to grit our teeth and go, right, it's going to be a bit crap for this season, but next season we'll get it sorted.
Well, the issue is there needs to be a recognition that from the referee side that there are changes that need to be made.
Yeah. Obviously, they apologise for the Newcastle thing, I believe.
Yeah, if they don't see it, they did. I think Lee Mason's been took off the list for this weekend as well. So, there are things so that, they do realise this, and it's good that and they seem to be getting held to professional standards, because overall refereeing has improved.
Yeah.
Over the last 10 years or so.
It has, but I think now we rely too much on the technology.
Well, this was always the day though when everyone used to say, "Let's bring the technology in." You can't have it both ways. You can't have. Because a lot of people are doing this now. Just go, we should just get rid of it altogether. When they're normally the ones who are probably crying because the decision went the wrong way, saying we need to use technology in football. Look at it all in these other sports.
To be fair, I was always one for goal line technology because, as I've always said, if you score a legitimate goal, it should be given. Obviously, it didn't happen in the Championship this weekend. Huddersfield had a goal ruled out that shouldn't have been because it crossed the line and someone was in the line of it or whatever.
Yeah, this man's still salty about Mendes, isn't he? I can tell. Roy Carroll didn't let that go in the net. We all know it.
But that's the thing. Goal line technology, fantastic. It has come in, and balls that go over the line, goals should be given. We need to get to the bottom of why VAR is not working. Do we need to change it?
It's only in England.
Yeah, because you never hear about it in other countries.
Yeah. Or even in European competitions, it very rarely gets.
It very rarely gets oh my God, they've dropped an absolute clanger there. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the women's Euros and the Euros last summer.
Yeah. So
there was no problem. There's no problem. I don't know what it's just in the Premier League. It's just in the Premier League. There seems to be issues
because they can't fundamentally change it now. We have to wait till the summer to do that. So
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see what they come up with.
I'll put my soapbox away now.
Yeah. So we need to crack on. We do need to move on. So let's have a chat then about the transfer window.
Yeah.
Obviously, some deadline day moves happened.
Yeah.
Obviously, Anthony technically was deadline day signing, although it was announced beforehand.
Yeah.
A lot of money spent in the Premier League this summer.
Getting it close enough to 2 billion.
Close to £2 billion, one of the biggest ever. Cost of living crisis. Yep, that's happening. Yep. Don't worry, football's keeping the economy running.
Apparently so.
Ridiculous, really, when you think about it. But it seems that we had a couple quiet years where the market seemed to be quietening down and transfer fees seem to be dropping a little bit. And then all of a sudden, this summer, it's gone crazy.
Well, the Premier League have seemed to be the only league in the world that's got any money.
Yeah, but not anymore because they're all we paid for clubs for. The Dutch Eredivisie, Ajax in particular, are loaded.
Yes.
They've had about 140 million off United this summer. That's before the add-ons.
Yeah. I think they
are rolling in the cash.
I think they are talking about bringing in a cost cap because something has got to be done.
Yeah, but the thing is, my opinion is actually, if you can afford it, then why not?
Well, it's all well and good saying that as Manchester United.
Yeah, but if you can afford to do it, then why wouldn't you? And actually, other clubs benefit from it.
Yeah.
Because like Ajax wouldn't have dreamed of getting £85 million for Anthony.
No, they're bloody laughing. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not just United get ripped off because of the money that they have, right? So and that's the same happens elsewhere too. It's not just United. When other clubs are seen to be desperate, they don't want to lose. They don't necessarily. They can afford not to let the player leave. It's got to be a big money offer that comes in. If you want him, that by supply and demand, isn't it? If you want something bad enough, you'll pay the money, right? So I never have a problem with that as long as it's affordable. Yeah. So that's where things around sustainability, financial sustainability in football needs to be solidified properly, like real properly. None of this fake FFP stuff that doesn't work for anybody.
Do you know that there were a few clubs that got a fine for FFP last week?
Well, but Barca are the ones that are
they're taking the mickey. Yeah.
Yeah, with La Liga, they can't register 5 players, but we're still going to spend a load of money, get them in, and then worry about it later. Yeah. I don't know how. The thing is, it's difficult, because in some ways, I kind of want to say, well, they shouldn't be allowed to buy a player until after they've solved the issue with their pay cap, with their salary cap
that's the right thing they should be doing.
Yeah. But I don't know legally. The only way that La Liga stop them is by stopping them register as a player, right? But it's too late at that point. If he's signed his contract, he's there. Yeah. And I don't think legally there's a way of stopping someone.
Well, I mean, you can not allow a club to register a player. It's within the league.
Yeah, but that's what they do.
Structure.
Yeah, but that's it. And but physically, him sign a contract and then belong to the club, he can still do that bit because legally there's nothing to stop them doing that bit. But that's the bit that's the problem. Yeah. There shouldn't be. There should be some sort of embargo on that. But it's legally, how does that stand? Because they're offering employment to a footballer. The issue is around contracting a player. Yeah. So they can contract a player and not be able to register him. Yeah. That's what they've been doing, and I think that's the problem. Yeah. They need to stop being able to sign these players onto contracts
before they register them. Yeah.
Before they've got down to the level that allows them to register them. Because they hoarded all these players. They did it last year as well. This isn't a thing that's happened this summer. They were doing it all. They were doing it all through COVID with the pay deferrals that and I think legally what they've done to their own players is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The way they made them defer payments and then gone, well, no, you're going to have to agree a salary reduction. Yeah. That's bonkers to me. That you've deferred the payment. Yeah, fine. I've deferred the payment. I've done my thing to help you through this, and then they go and spend millions and millions on new players and then don't pay you what they owe you.
Yeah, no, that's the daft bit.
That's something else that needs to be sorted as well for them. For the footballers, and everyone going, footballers earn a lot of money. Yeah, they do. But at the end of the day, Barcelona agreed to pay them a certain amount of money.
And they're not paying them to them.
And they're not paying them. They're not standing by that. So I don't understand why they haven't all gone for breach of contract. Yeah. It seems easy peasy. because then you could walk into a courtroom and go, well, they kept saying they couldn't afford to, but then they paid this out.
I suppose it would
All
take
for these
someone to do
players.
that. Obviously, with the Bosman ruling from years ago, obviously he wanted to get himself out of a contract at the end of it,
Yeah.
and obviously it changed football in terms of a player could leave a club for free at the end of his contract.
Yeah. But you know, that makes sense.
You should be able
Doesn't
to
it, that
do
whole
what you want to do.
Yeah. But I just think this whole thing with Barcelona is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely mental.
Absolutely crazy.
Shouldn't be allowed to get
So
away
if we
with
look
it.
at if we look at some of the, so if you were to say what was some of the best signings in the summer, what would you go for? Who would you say is your up there? Your maybe top three signings this summer, because we all know we're both saying Haaland. Let's exclude Haaland because he's the win.
Take Haaland
That's
out
the
of
big
it.
W. We take that. Haaland's the best signing on another level. Forget about it. You know, if we were doing like a tier list, a YouTube tier list,
Okay.
he's got his own class.
Yes, he
the
has.
Haaland class.
Definitely.
Right. That's up there. We know that. That's guaranteed. So under that, then, what are we saying are the best signings that we think were made?
Aronson to Leeds is a good one.
Hmm?
I like that. I like him because he's a good player.
Yeah, he's done well.
Yeah, he's started well as well, which always helps. Nick Pope to Newcastle, I think is a good thing for Newcastle. They've needed a steady number one for quite a while now. I'm going to say Connor Cody to Everton from Wolves. I know it's only a loan deal, but that's a good bit of business for Everton.
It is. I thought that as well, you know. I think that's a really, really useful signing, you know, because
he's a leader.
Okay. Yeah, he's a leader, but he knows the city well. Yeah. He'll know what that club means to its fans. Yeah. You know, everything about it sort of just makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Absolutely.
And he's a very good centre half. Let's not forget that he is actually very good at what he does.
What would your three be?
My three, I think, in the long haul, I think Jesse Lingard will be a good signing for Notts Forest.
Okay. Yeah.
Over the season, I think that Zinchenko to Arsenal.
Yeah, he was kind of 4 or 5 for me, but yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I think he's going to make a big change to the way that they operate. Yeah. And then I think one of the top tier ones for me, I think Sterling going to Chelsea. I think that's an absolute snap for Chelsea to get Premier League proven, you know, world class player in Raheem the Dream. Raheem the Dream. It's true, but it's just like it's actually a really good deal.
Yeah, it is
for Chelsea, and it was good for Sterling. He needed the move. He's actually played really well for them. You know, he's turned up, scored some goals already. He's in amongst it.
Yep.
And I think they needed. He said they did. He said they needed. They didn't necessarily need it, but he's an improvement on what they had in that position in that sort of left channel.
Going in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
They needed to get a top class winger in, and he's definitely in that category.
Absolutely. But I think hopefully come the end of the season, I'll be able to say Martinez is an absolute piece of joy. Malacia could turn out from a United point of view. I'm just going selfish now. So from a United point of view, if Malacia can turn around and show what he showed in the early season, if he goes on to do that, then he could become like a signing of the season. So we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. But no, I think most clubs did well. Leicester have had an absolute shocker.
They did bring a couple of players in on deadline day, but yeah, they needed so many more.
They needed more.
You can see by the game against Brighton at the weekend, they were dreadful.
Yeah, they're just gone. I don't know what Brendan does to turn that round either.
Falls on his sword, probably.
He might end up doing that. If he can't get some stuff around. But I think, again, like I was saying last week, he's been dealt a bad hand. Yes. Because they've, you know, I think in the game against United, in the programme notes, the chairman had put in there that they'd had to tighten the purse strings this year. Yeah. So this was fully expected that this was happening. You know, and I think there has to be some level of understanding on Brendan Rodgers on that front.
Yeah, they're not going to sack him. I think that's probably a big thing. They're not going to sack him. Is he going to walk away? He may well
Depends
do.
if he gets if something else comes up though, doesn't it? It depends what.
Yeah.
It depends what. So yeah, overall it was a fun transfer window. Lots of nonsense. The Frankie De Jong saga didn't end. Well, it did end, but not the way anyone thought it might. At one point, he was ending up at 3 different Premier League clubs at one point.
And the only thing we got right from last week when we said what might happen on deadline day, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Is anyone we got right?
Yeah, I was surprised. Well, I did hear that Newcastle were looking at a few things.
Yeah.
And they were they the ones linked with Marcelo? Who was that? Who was linked with Marcelo on transfer deadline day?
Yeah, I didn't hear
he ended up at Olympiacos. Marcelo ended up at Olympiacos in the end.
Blimey.
Yeah.
That's a culture shock.
Indeed. So yeah, good work, Premier League, for keeping us entertained. Right, do you want to take us around the world?
Let's go around the world, shall we? So we start this week in La Liga, where Real and Barca continue to lead the way after wins over Real Betis and Sevilla. Villarreal are the only other unbeaten side in the league. They beat Elche. There could also be a change at Sevilla. Maurizio Pochettino is being touted to replace Julian Lepoggi. I hope I've said that right. I probably haven't, but we'll see what happens there. In Serie A, the Milan derby saw a win for AC, an enthralling 3-2 game. Atalanta are the surprise early leaders after beating newly promoted Monza. Jose Mourinho's new-look Roma were dispatched at ease by Udinese 4-0. There's an even more unusual name at the top of the Bundesliga in early season, Freiburg, leading the way after beating Leverkusen. In France, PSG continue to lead the way, but they are level on points with Marseille after both sides won. The Premier League Foreign Legion, aka Nice, lost 1-0 to Monaco, but fear not, Nice fans. Ross Barkley is on his way to try and help you out. DC United have finally stopped the rot after a 0-0 draw with the Colorado Rapids. LA Galaxy striker and former Manchester United player Javier Hernandez had the chance to win the game through side, only to try and fail with a Panenka. A funny story from the FA Cup qualifying rounds where Blackfield and Langley FC goalkeeper Connor Maceco was sent off for weeing in a hedge. And finally, a wonderful story from the EFL, tinged with a bit of sadness. Jay Stansfield made his debut on loan from Fulham for Exeter this weekend. His dad, Adam, had played for the Grecians, scoring 39 times in 160 appearances for the Devon club over 4 seasons. He sadly died of cancer in 2010. They retired his number 9 shirt as a mark of respect to him, but they bought it out of retirement so Jay could wear it. So let's see if another Stanfield can make his mark on the football world.
Lovely stuff, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Javier Hernandez thing, I saw it, it's dreadful. And, the first thing that come into my mind was that clip where he misses a penalty for United and Van Gaal just looked at Ryan Giggs. That's the first thing. When I saw it, I thought, that's Louis Van Gaal. He's doing that look again right now.
Right now, yeah.
Right now.
I mean, the Stansfield story is amazingly.
It is a special story, that.
Hopefully he's going to do
Lovely stuff. Right then, so Donis Avdijaj, football manager wonder kid from 2016.
How do you think he got on this weekend?
How do I think he got on this weekend? I reckon he's got a goal. He's got a goal in him, Donis. Go on, Donis.
He did pick up a noteworthy thing on the match report.
Oh, another yellow card.
Another yellow card, yeah.
Another yellow card, you see. Always on the sheet. Always on the sheet.
Just not in the right place. They
lost. You've got to be on the score sheet.
2-1 to Lugano. In the last minute, they lost as well.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. But they did move up a place. Winterturn, who are the side directly in contact with them at the moment, have got a worse goal difference than they have now. They do take on Arsenal on Thursday in the Europa League. We'll let you know how that happens.
Hat-trick for Donis. Hat-trick for Donis against the Arsenal. I can see it.
It'd be lovely, wouldn't it?
Oh, dear. Go on, Donis.
Come on, the Donis.
Okay, so, I mean, hopefully Donis can pick something up. But should we have a look at the weekend's fixtures?
This weekend, so we are in match day 7. We are flying through the Premier League season as it stands. So we start with the West London derby at 12:30. Fulham taking on Chelsea. Brighton take on Bournemouth. Southampton take on Brentford. Liverpool take on Wolves. And Leicester take on Aston Villa at 3 o'clock. The 5:30 game is from the Etihad. Manchester City taking on Tottenham. The 2 o'clock games this weekend. Arsenal take on Everton. West Ham take on Newcastle before the 4:30 game, Crystal Palace versus Manchester United. And Monday Night Football returns this weekend with an old Premier League classic, Leeds taking on Nottingham Forest.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. And of course, there is the big fixture this weekend. Me and you'll be taking much more interest in than most others. It is the start of the WSL. And the opening game is Tottenham Hotspurs versus Man United.
At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So get yourself down there.
Indeed. We shall be covering some WSL action next week.
Indeed. Of course, Russo and Tooney are going to put you to the sword.
I've no doubt they are, yeah.
Right. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Don't forget, you can always get in touch with us at Let's Football Pod is where you can get in touch with us on Twitter. You can email us letsfootballpod@gmail.com. We will be back next week with all the action from the Premier League and elsewhere around the world. But for now, we'll see you all very, very soon.
Bye.
Goodbye.